Grab a cocktail with us and welcome to the hot mess that is my life as a single makeup artist living in a college town in Florida. This is Kara's Lipstick Diary. Hi, you guys. We're back with another episode. Have you subscribed yet? Make sure you go down and hit that subscribe button because you know you don't want to miss out anything. Well, I'm excited about this episode because we are doing a follow-up to the original episode about learning how to break up with being polite. So Antionette is back for another one, and we are zooming in Bri, who was the one who wrote the article for Elle magazine that inspired the whole thing to begin with. So with that being said, you know it's time to make a cocktail. So I have no idea what the name of this cocktail is. My friend who makes cocktails just came up with this one, and he gave me weird instructions of what I'm supposed to do. So apparently I'm supposed to slap the mint, you guys. I don't know what slapping the mint really means. He said, put a couple small pieces in your hand and slap them. Not really sure why I need to do this to the mint, but apparently I need to slap the mint. We put the mint then in the glass. From there, I was supposed to put some cucumber in the glass and muddle it. Again, y'all, I don't think the straw should be in there for this. I don't exactly know what muddling is. I'm just gonna smack it with this thing that's supposed to be a muddler because I have no idea what muddling means. From there, I'm supposed to put the ice in. Sounds like a good plan. And now we get to actually start doing things that make a little more sense to me. Starting out, we're gonna go ahead and put in some lemon juice. And he says I can buy lemon juice and all of that, and it's great, but I really just like my own fresh lemon juice. That seems like a much better option. It's a little challenging to do, but you know, whatever. From there, we're gonna add 1.5 ounces of this fabulous pink gin. It's Jasmine Rosé Gin. I really bought it because, again, the bottle was pretty, and we know that that's how I roll. Everything has to be pretty. And it's the right color on brand. I don't know if I'm measuring this properly. Hopefully I don't poison my guest. You know, I'm always concerned about that. Then we're gonna do 1/2 ounce of Elderflower Liqueur. From there, we're gonna add in this, ooh, I just spilled that on the bar cart and not in the glass. We'll add a little bit more. I don't know how much ended up in the glass, how much ended up on the bar cart. You know me, I should not be allowed to make cocktails because I really have zero clue what I am doing. Okay, that's all in there. This is all in here. I don't think I've forgotten anything. Oh, except for the glitter. Because you know we can't do this without glitter. Oh, that was a lot of glitter. This is an extra glittery drink, you guys. All right, I hope you enjoy, and I can't wait for this conversation. Hi, you guys. So I am so excited. Like I mentioned in the opening, this episode is a follow-up to our first episode about breaking up with politeness due to the article that Bri wrote. And oh my God, she's here with us all the way from California. She is zooming in, and Antionette and I are so excited to chat with her about this topic because, to be honest, y'all, it's kind of changed my life when I realized my comfort is actually more important than being polite sometimes. So thank you so much for zooming in. You are a goddess. What inspired you? What made you want to write this article? Where did this come from?
So it was largely inspired by COVID. I live with an autoimmune disease. So that means the CDC said that I'm high risk for COVID. And I live in a really small little, I call it bungalows. I'm little bungalow complex. There's 8 units on each side, and everyone's really close quarters. Everyone knows about my health conditions. But despite this, people are still coming up to me without masks. And you know, I'm a very nice person, but that doesn't mean that I don't speak up for myself. I grew up in Canada, and we're known for being polite and kind. But I've always hated the connotation that means that we don't speak our minds, we don't stand up for ourselves. And there are certain situations where, you know, I really love these neighbors, and overall, they're being nice to me, they're coming up to say nice things, but they weren't wearing masks.
Right.
And it was the height of the pandemic. I'm very high risk for dying of COVID. Not
right.
Just getting COVID.
A little terrifying.
Yes, a little terrifying, especially at the beginning when it was all brand new. Mm-hmm. And I'm already living with all these conditions that are happening all the time and flare-ups. And so people are coming up to me without masks. And, you know, my instinct is to just back away and try to protect myself, not say anything, not try to make them uncomfortable. But it happened a couple of times. And I was just like, you know what? protecting someone else's feelings isn't more important than protecting myself from dying.
Right. You know, Bri, when you're talking about these things, it really, for you, came down to legit life or fucking death. Like, whether or not someone comes up and hugs you, engages with you, when there's a damn pandemic and your health is at risk. But I think it crossed over so much to just women in general and how we have been trained to put everybody else's, like, safety or comfort above our own safety. Mm-hmm. And that's what really struck Antionette and I when we read your article and what inspired our first episode that we did. So thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Like, insanely thank you. And you doing that, like, opened the eyes to, I think, a lot of women, anyone who read it, of like how much we don't think about our own safety. Antionette,
exactly.
Have you found that after reading it, you've made changes in how you engage with people? As she starts giggling. That's a yes. She has.
So after, I don't know if I told you this yet, Bri, but after Kara and I recorded the first episode together that was centered around your article, I found some courage. I was like, you know what? I'm going to turn around and I'm going to correct something from my own past that I am not a fan of. And I actually spoke about this the last time that I was here, Kara. I talked about a previous boss that I had that basically when I went to him and told him that I was being sexually harassed, he said, it's probably because you wanted it. Basically.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah,
fuck you.
You know? And so I took off, I left the episode, I went and I bought a thank you card. I wrote a whole letter in it, and I'm an author, so you know it was a whole letter. And I sent it to him because he has become the executive director of that organization now. And believe it or not, I got an apology in return. And as much as I would really love to sit here and slander him for giving me such a bullshit apology, no, this was A+. He took his L like a man, and I was really impressed with it. But, you know, that was only the start, Bri. I have been turning around, setting boundaries, sticking up for myself.
I didn't know I was allowed to.
Yeah, I've been stopping this whole, I'm just going to look pretty and sweet because that's what's easiest act. And, there are some people who don't like it, but girl, I'm happy as hell. I don't care.
Yeah, I have to say, you have your story of that, and I think it's fucking amazing. You texted me when this was all going down, and I was like, yeah, bitch, get it. And I had similar things. I always, if I went out with a guy and he came to my house afterwards, whether I wanted him in my home or not, he just stayed. Like, I had one guy who was so drunk, he passed out in my bed one time, like sprawled across my entire bed, and like literally would get up to vomit to the point that he busted a blood vessel in his eyes and then would fall back to sleep, and he was in my bed until like 2:00 the next day. Like, I went to Starbucks.
Have audio, right? Are you hearing this?
Yeah, this was literally like what I thought was okay. Since reading your article, since doing that episode, I have had 2 situations recently where there's been a guy either really drunk in my house or the one guy who turned out to be a raging racist and I didn't know it. Both of these men, I legit took their phones from them, ordered them an Uber, and sent them outside.
Yes.
Good for
you. You dropped the computer in your reaction to that. Like, it was like, I was like, get the fuck out. You are in my goddamn space. Like, why did I think it was okay before to let them in my space? Because I didn't want to make a scene. Mm-hmm. I'd been told, don't make a scene. Don't make a scene.
We're supposed to just make everything okay.
So, like, when you wrote this article, obviously this came from COVID. It came from life-saving type of responsibility. Did you see that it translated to other aspects of your life as well?
Yes. Well, I'm the kind of person, again, like everyone who meets me, they say that I'm nice. I'm the nicest person they've ever met. And I like that because kindness is obviously important to me, but also I feel like so many people don't think you can be kind and strong and badass at the same time. Mm-hmm. And that's always infuriated me because it just doesn't make sense logically. I feel like it's harder to be kind and empathetic. It takes more emotional intelligence. Yeah. Just as much to be strong and to stand up for yourself. Mm-hmm. So that's always made me really angry ever since I was a little kid, that I was the nice one.
Really angry? My goodness. I can't imagine you angry, but obviously you can be because you wrote that article. So that's
yes,
so sweet.
I can be really angry. And I've never had a problem with standing up for myself and getting angry when someone is obviously being outwardly horrible.
Right.
Even that I had problems with.
It shocks people because they're used to...
Kara?
Oh, yeah. I would even have problems with that back in the day.
I'm surprised.
Like, it would be like, I just curled up. Like, oh, no, I don't want to make a scene. So even that... I had trouble with.
I get it. Me, I didn't ever want to be the angry black woman. Anytime I raise my voice, anytime I complain about something, here comes
you
the
have
tropes.
a stereotype
and I'm
to deal with.
Damn it, no! You fucked up my order, and I'm telling you about it. That's all. It's not me being angry. Damn it.
But yeah, I think you know, we're all trained to be the nice girl, the good girl, and we lose our voice in that process. And you showed us. Fuck that. We can have a voice.
Yes.
We can have boundaries.
Yeah.
And our lives look very different today because of that article.
You like literally changed my life. Like
that makes me.
And the fact that like when I like found like Antionette found her on Instagram and connected all of us, and I was like, I need you on my show because you changed my life. You don't know me. I'm some random chick in a college town in Florida, but like, yo, you changed my life. You opened a dialogue I didn't know I needed to have.
That makes me so happy because because of my chronic illness, anytime I write something, it takes so much out of me. So I try to only write articles that I really, really care about, and the message is really important to me. So I only really write when I want to make a difference. So it means so much to me just to hear that
it's made all the
it's
difference.
still making a difference almost a year later.
Yeah.
Because I think what I was saying about, like, I haven't had a problem speaking up for myself when someone is outwardly being like a super jerk, like horrible person. It surprises people because neighbors are used to seeing me be bubbly and laughing with my dog and just being so nice and welcoming to everyone. Especially men. Men are so shocked when I get angry.
Because we're not supposed to.
And they might
smile
look at
and be
you
pretty.
and assume that, oh, she's not going to do anything.
Because we smile and we're pretty.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
she's just
I mean, they're used to seeing me be bubbly and hi, how are you? But that doesn't mean that you can be a jerk to me, you know?
Right.
And I will see guys' faces just like drop, like their jaws drop, like they're cartoon character. They can't believe that I, the nice one, would speak up for myself.
Wait, we have opinions, voices, needs, boundaries. Oh, we're human.
Yeah,
Sorry, just
shocking.
like you, motherfucker. Yeah, like seriously. And it usually is the men that seem to be the most surprised when we.
Yeah, they're the ones that are the most surprised, and it's hilarious. Like I almost want to stop being mad just to crack up because their faces, like literally, they're like a cartoon character. Like they just become like speechless, and they start like I can't. You're the one who like always says hi to me and asks how I am, and you're always laughing and bubbly. And, that doesn't mean that you can be a jerk to me. That doesn't mean that you can disrespect me. So generally, I've shocked people because they're used to seeing me as a nice one. But if they're outwardly rude to me, I have no problem speaking up for myself. But what I found really interesting, I interviewed a Hopkins-trained psychiatrist for the article. And she said something to me, which I think could be a new article, is just even the illusion of niceness, the illusion of cordiality. If someone is acting nice to you, but you get a really creepy feeling from it, women are still likely to respond politely, even though they know that it's just an illusion of politeness.
Right.
Like
and that's how we die.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how
That
we
is
get
how we
parking
die.
we die.
Yep.
Hello,
It's true.
Ted Bundy. Like, this is how we die.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like you're trained to, if the person is outwardly saying nice things to you, you're not supposed to trust your instincts that they're actually being manipulative to you.
And that actually came from my parents. I was raised to act this way.
Oh, I think we were all raised to act this way. And this is how we get in really fucked up situations.
Right.
Like, well, I mean, the guy who turned out to be a raging racist. So we had been hooking up for a week and a half.
You were hooking up for a week and a half with a raging racist?
I didn't know he was a raging racist.
Kara, we're going to have a talk.
I had no idea. And when I did, like, so, we were hooking up, and after sex one day, he looks at me. First off, he, after a week and a half, goes, I want to adopt 3 children with you. And I went, I'm sorry, what?
Adopt 3 children
Like, we've
with
been
you.
dating for a week and a half. Like, what? And then he goes, wait a second. So are you seeing other people? And I was like, it's been a week and a half. Like, yes. Like, what the hell are you talking about? And then he goes, have you ever been with a black man before?
Wait, why did he ask that?
I don't know. And I looked at him and I was like, well, of course I have. Like, what the fuck? Like, I was with one last week. Like, what the hell? And he goes, oh my God, I can't be with you anymore. I can't be with you. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And he goes, well, I mean, how do you take them in public? They dress themselves? I mean, I walk in wearing Hugo Boss and everyone looks at me. And my first thought was,
Hugo Boss?
Hugo Boss? 2, it's because you're like 5'5" and the body of a 15-year-old. Like, that's why everyone's turning and looking and confused. And 3, I'm sorry, they can't dress themselves? Like, what?
That's
so I looked at the man and I said,
mindset right there.
this man, by the way, was Colombian and not white.
Oh, so he's of color?
Yeah.
And he making fun of other people?
Yeah.
Oh,
and so I asked him if he'd have this
I'm gonna
issue.
need another drink.
I know, right? I asked him if he would have this issue if I was sleeping with an Asian man or a white man, and he was like, no, just black. And I was like, oh, motherfucker. And he goes, I'm not racist. And I was like,
oh, no, not
motherfucker.
at all. Not at all.
So, like, he ends it with me, and I send him on his way in his Uber. And first
you
off,
called for him, right?
Well, I was like, you're going to need to get an Uber now. And he was like, okay. The Uber comes and he tries not to get into it. And I'm like, no, you're going to get into that Uber. Like, you're going to leave. He has continued to try to get back together with me multiple times. And I finally was like, no, asshole, you're a fucking racist. And like, you told me that you were a racist and I want nothing to do with you. Goodbye. But like, he could not believe that I wanted to end it with him because he was a racist. Like, you,
oh my God. Yeah,
like,
that's the thing.
You
It's
know what?
just so
Next week he's going to get
shocking.
arrested for participation in the riot, in the Capitol riot.
Exactly.
Like, that's what's going to happen.
Oh my God, this guy. But like, I literally 2 years ago, if this guy had been in my house, I would have been like, oh well, I mean, he's here. Like,
she
what
wasn't
am I
friends with
supposed to
Antionette
do?
2 years ago.
Right? I guess I'm gonna have to drive him home. Bullshit. There's a thing called Uber. Bye bye. Like, you opened my eyes to all this and our conversations that came from your article. Like, holy fuck, dude, get your goddamn Uber and leave. Leave me the fuck alone. But he was so shocked that, like, as a woman, I would tell him no.
Well, yeah, you would draw the boundary and then hold it. I mean, he was arguing with you in front of the Uber.
Yeah. Like, he literally was standing there and I'm like waving the Uber and like, no, you're not leaving. This guy's getting in there.
Okay, so I just want to spell out, just in plain terms, what this is. Dude was a flaming racist. And
Beyond.
Kara said no. And dude said, your no isn't good enough for me.
Correct.
The fuck? Like, that's what we're living in.
Well, and I think that's...
I love it.
Go ahead.
I love that you spelled it out like that because it's so simple. Like, he's racist, get the hell out.
Yeah.
And 2, like, but no matter what the reason, her no is worthy. And
Correct.
if she says no, then get the hell out.
Yeah. It's time for you to go, son.
Yes.
And didn't this happen 2 months ago? Why is he still contacting you?
This happened a month ago.
Oh.
This happened.
Girl, you were hanging out with a flaming... We're gonna
I
have to
didn't know
talk.
he was until that moment. This happened on Christmas Eve, y'all. By the time this episode airs, it'll be a couple months.
That's who she was hanging out with, Bree. Remember she told us she was hanging out with her not boyfriend? That too.
That was you. Like, yeah, the flaming racist. Well, we got rid of him.
Yes.
We got rid of him. And
Post-haste.
I stuck with that boundary because, men are trained that if someone says no, you keep asking until they say yes. And
it's a chase.
It is totally the chase. And I was like, you know what? My no is a fucking no. Like, accept my no and move the fuck on. And I would have bent to it previously. I would have been like, okay, fine. But now I'm like, no, that fucking no means something. And I'm going to fucking tell you. And if it pisses you off, so fucking be it. You're an asshole.
Yeah.
So,
and I think we need to keep shocking people, especially men, especially cishet men. The more they get used to being shocked, then the more they're going to be used to us speaking our minds and not being polite all the time.
Yes. Because we are.
So shocking is good.
Yes. And I was never one of those who was like all about the shock value, but I think we we went through the 60s and we were supposed to go through this, female, empowerment, but it didn't stick. It didn't actually make that much of a difference. And we as women, there's still so much of the patriarchy not allowing us to have voices, not allowing us to be safe, not allowing us all these different things. And it's time that we speak for our comfort, our safety over being polite and making someone else feel calm and safe and comfortable.
The comfort. I don't care about anybody else's comfort but my own.
Right. If we're not comfortable, then they shouldn't have to be comfortable. So, I think your article and the conversations that we've had have just really opened our eyes and hopefully a lot of other women's eyes. Hopefully those of you watching have felt the same way too. And we're going to definitely put a link in for her article because you guys all need to read this article. You're amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
You're both amazing. You're both amazing. I'm so grateful to get to talk to you finally.
Yes.
I know, right? Because we've been talking on the Insta and now to actually see you and hear you and you're right there.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I mean, I wish you were right here in person.
I know. I wish you were right here. We have to come out to LA.
Yeah, she's all the way on the other side of the country, you guys. But at least we have a thing called Zoom. Pre-pandemic, I didn't even know about Zoom. So, this is kind of amazing. The pandemic not only inspired your article, got me aware of Zoom. It launched this podcast, so I kind of got to thank this pandemic.
It pushed us closer together.
Yeah, no shit. I didn't know you before the pandemic.
Yeah, we weren't friends before the pandemic.
We didn't know each other. We'd never met.
And now we're
kind of crazy.
How have we not?
Hey.
Oh, I love that.
But I feel like you had other things you wanted to say. You were telling me you were thinking of things in the car.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, first of all, did any of your neighbors actually respond negatively to you trying to be hey, don't come near me if you don't have a mask on. We're in a pandemic right now. I'm trying to die right now. Did anybody actually,
bristle?
Did they have any resistance to that? I'd be curious to know. That's
the thing that you're always scared that they're going to be so negative, and a lot of times they aren't. The thing is that the mask incident I didn't speak up in that very moment. I was just I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to back away. And as soon as I get home, I'm going to strip everything and take a shower and drink an emergency. And I'm going to do everything I can to take care of myself because I don't want to hurt your feelings. So in that particular moment with that particular neighbor, I never did say anything. And it made me really angry that I didn't.
Yeah, you stewed on it.
And it inspired this article. So I never actually experienced what it would be like to tell this particular person to back up and put on a mask. I did with other people who I didn't actually personally know. And it really depended on the person, the way that they reacted. But what made me so angry with myself was just in that moment, I'm thinking of her comfort instead of my own.
Yeah.
And it just changed everything because I said that I don't have a problem when someone is being outwardly rude, but this neighbor was being nice to me. She was being nice to my dog. My dog was all happy and wiggling, and I don't want to ruin her fun when she's happy.
Right.
Yeah. The dogs don't know we're in a pandemic.
No, they're fully unaware.
They're
fully
so
unaware.
Exactly. And my dog is sensitive, so I don't like to create conflict especially when I'm with my dog. She's very sensitive. She picks up on energy. She'll have panic attacks if she gets really upset about people's mean energy. So I try not to escalate anything or create conflict when I'm with her unless it's a matter of life and death, which this actually was. But again, it was the illusion of cordiality, the illusion of niceness.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to stay in the nice zone, and then as soon as I'm back inside, I'm like, oh my God, I could be infected. I cared more about being nice in that moment than protecting myself. So I actually don't know how she would have reacted. I don't know.
And I think that I guess I like that answer because I think that oftentimes when women do try to stick up for themselves or when they do step out there and say, no, I don't like that, and they draw the boundary, What no one ever tells us is that, like, then you have to sit in the discomfort of the fact that you set your boundary, and some people may not like it, but they can kick rocks, you know? Like, anybody who doesn't want to accept that, you know, they can hit the road. And so I was just curious to know if you had had any of those moments or not, and it sounds like you weren't really concerned about that, so I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you in the slightest. I'm a little mad that my drink's almost empty.
Do you need some?
I kind of need some.
The thing is the reason that I think it's so important to speak up and not be polite in the moment is because when you do set a boundary and when you do speak up for yourself is often when you realize who the other person really is.
Correct.
True.
100%. You see their true colors.
Yes.
So if you've been like wavering, like, oh my God, like they're being nice to me, but I'm getting a creepy feeling they're actually not being nice to me, but they're pretending to be nice to me. If you actually speak up and say, you know, I don't want to talk to you, leave me alone, and then they call you a bitch, then you know that you are right.
Oh, hey, they're your colors.
Exactly. Like you're trying to be polite to this person because they're acting polite, even though they're not really, but it's creepy. They're not outwardly calling you a bitch in that moment because they think that you're going to be polite and you're going to take it. But I think it's really important to trust our instincts and speak up for ourselves, because as soon as we do, a person who you were being polite to and who was acting supposedly polite to you, but you get a creepy feeling and they're not actually being polite, they're being manipulative. If they're just outwardly horrible, the second you stand up for yourself, then your instincts were right. And it's good that you stood up for yourself.
Yeah.
And again, as I said, if someone is outwardly rude and reveals their true colors, I have no problem standing up for myself and being angry and speaking my mind. But then, there are also people who are probably going to be completely fine with it, that they're going to say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Thank you for telling me.
Right.
And I appreciate those people.
Well, and I think, it's in regards to any type of boundaries when you set them and you realize who's going to respect your boundaries and who's not going to respect your boundaries. And it really shows you who those people are and whether or not they actually respect you as a person. Because that's like key. And it doesn't matter if it's a family member, a stranger, a good friend.
No,
if you set a boundary and they can't deal with it in whatever way it is, that shows their lack of respect with you as a person.
That's my big thing now.
It's a huge thing for me right now. And it's something I've dealt with family. And that's a really hard one. When my therapist looked at me and said, would you let anyone else treat you this way? Why would you let this family member? I went, oh shit.
And then you have to follow that up,
correct,
right?
100%.
So that's what I'm sitting in, just so that you know, Bri. I'm like, okay, why am I allowing these family members to mistreat me like this? Let me put a stop to this. And oh God,
it's very hard. But this conversation of, I loved your title, Breaking Up with Politeness. It really is like, yes, it is important to be polite and courteous in general. But if it is in regards to your safety, your boundaries, any of those things, fuck it. Your safety, your comfort, your boundaries are far more important.
And you're allowed to protect yourself.
You 100% are. Bri, Antionette, thank you guys so much for being on this episode. Thank you for writing the article. Thank you for, bringing us into this conversation. It is so important. You guys, I so beyond appreciate these women because they have changed my life and made it better. So thank you guys so much for watching. We love having you here. Make sure you check out all the episodes and remember to subscribe. Thanks.